I got in last night from the UK. I'm here in Jeddah, in the Qamar Hotel, which was where we normally hang out when we're here, and we're about to do a 6-hour drive up to a place called Miyha, where we'll spend the night, and then tomorrow we'll two of us at least, Omar and I, will head out to a project that we're exploring. So it's a project that we're exploring for copper called Al-Miyah.
Hey,
so this is Omar.
Yeah.
Say hello, Omar.
Hello, Tim. How are you?
Omar just told me this morning he's going to get married because I didn't send him to Morocco in time.
Hi.
That's Miyha.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi, Gum Slippy Chan. Boys are getting ready. 6-hour drive, bit more. That's Ivan. Okay, so just stopping for some road supplies. That usually means coffee and chocolate.
What you are filming?
I'm filming the last days of your single life, my friend. Salam alaikum.
عليكم السلام. يا مرحبا.
كيف حالك؟ كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله.
الحمد لله.
الحمد لله.
So we've just completed a bit of a traverse around this area here. This is our Al-Miyah project. We're finding something we find quite often here in Saudi Arabia. So here you can see what we call gossan. Okay, so you can see the copper, that's malachite, it's oxides of copper that have been oxidized, as the name suggests. And over there we've got fairly fresh rock. Okay, so here's gossan, all of that is fresh rock. And then we have what they call a wadi here in Saudi Arabia, so on the Middle East. So it's a dry riverbed full of sand and gravels. And so more often than not, when we're working here, we find that these gossans, which are soft, oxidized rock, disappear, or, well, let's not say disappear, it's just to be objective, just sit on the edge of these wadis, implying that, you know, they continue underneath the cover. Now, in order to be sure of that, you've got to map all of the surrounding rocks to sort of get a framework, and you know, these rocks are folded at least twice here, so to get a framework of how these things, what direction they might be going in, and so our framework is suggesting that at the moment that they're going in that direction. So stopping for a mid-morning snack, which is, so there's a fridge. Okay, all of this. How's this truck work, Omar? So there's a fridge.
Yeah.
There's a fridge. Underneath Omar, vehicle kit, camp and admin. What else
Those we
got in
have.
there?
We have batteries inside. Okay, look.
Okay, so the battery pack inside. We can charge that off solar as well, right?
Yeah.
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 There's the inverter,
Inside.
some storage.
And these gallons of water, we can take a shower here if you want.
Okay, so there's, okay, yeah. So there's a tent. That's a pull-down tent on the top.
This is the shower,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the tent.
It's the tent. It's a shower water tank, that grey tank up the top up there. So no problems getting a hot shower.
So that's it for camera.
And an awning that pops out on this side. Here in this area here, we've got two deformation events, right? Two deformation events that have formed folds and cleavages. So we call them D1 and D2. Okay, we call the cleavages they form. So a cleavage is a plane that's more or less perpendicular to the shortening direction that produced the fold. So if you're going to, let's say if you're going to fold a sheet of paper with your finger and your thumb and you squeeze, then a cleavage forms at 90 degrees to the direction of your squeezing. Okay, it's a long story, but sometimes most of the time here we've been on what are called F2 fold limbs. So we've been on the limb and not in the hinge. So the hinge, I think that's obvious what a hinge is, right? So in the hinge area, you should find two things at 90 degrees together. So if you're folding a book, for example, you'd find the pages are at 90 degrees to the axis of the fold. So what we call the axial plane. Axial plane produces a cleavage. So making a long story very short, I'm going to just pan around here, and what you can see is on that side there you can see a shallow dipping plane. Okay, that's our S1 cleavage. Okay, it's dipping shallowly in this case off to the east. There's the sun, that's the east. Okay, and then in the middle here you'll see this corridor, okay, of steep dipping. You can see it very clearly down the bottom here, of a steep dipping plane. Okay, that's S2. So here you've got that later cleavage S2 at a high angle to S1. Okay, so what that means is that we're in a hinge of a fold that's second generation, or an F2 fold hinge. Sometimes hinges are important, and we'll go down and we'll do another video down the bottom here. Sometimes hinges are important because that's where during folding, I mean, you're not at surface folding a book, right, at room temperature. You're deep in the crust here. So I don't know where we're Amphibolite so we might be 10-15 kilometers down in the crust. I don't know how many kilobars we are, 3-4 kilobars. So it's a high pressure, high temperature basically, and we're folding these rocks. And so what happens, there's all sorts of funky things that happen, as you can imagine, at those depths. One of the things that happens is you lose volume on the limbs of the fold, so which is what produces these cleavages, and then it accumulates often in the hinges. So if you're producing a mineralization event, which is all about, the sun is on, it's hot here, which is all about moving stuff from one place to another and then trapping it, you basically do that in a fold hinge. And so fold hinges are always important in these types of terrain for capturing copper and gold and that sort of thing. So this is an important locality, and we'll go down the bottom and I'll show you some evidence of fluid movement up the limbs and possibly being trapped into this hinge area. So let's go. So here we can see, let me swing this around. So here you can see there's S1, so that flat thing, it might be hard in that light. That flat stuff there is the early cleavage that's folded by S2. Again, I just want to draw your attention to these veins. Okay, so these are veins that are sitting kind of at 90 degrees to that, right? So they're sitting actually in the later cleavage, the S2 cleavage. So I don't know. I don't think this area has been sampled, but it should be, because sometimes, as I said, in these hinge areas, you get fluid movement, the production of veins in parallel to the cleavage is sometimes replacing what would be in S1. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move west, because we've walked across from the east, didn't see anything. And so what we're going to do is head over that way and see what we can see in terms of repeats of this type of stuff. But this is more, this here is much more gold prone than copper prone, and I'm saying that just because of what we know about the nature of these quartz veins. There's no copper oxides here, so yeah, this is much more of a possible gold system.